All right, strap yourselves in because today we're plunging headfirst into the mysteries and legends of Lake Superior.
Lake Superior.
The biggest.
It is the largest.
And deepest of the Great Lakes.
Deepest.
Some say the most, the eeriest.
Yeah.
And, listeners, you're here, so clearly you have a taste for the unexplained and the spooky.
Well, you came to the right place then, because we've got ghost ships.
Oh, yeah.
Haunted lighthouses, and phenomena that'll make you think twice about, well, even looking at a picture of this lake.
It's true. Nicknamed the graveyard, over 6,000 shipwrecks down there.
That's not just history.
Yeah.
It's practically an underwater city of stories.
Right. And what better place to start?
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
And with ghost ships.
You got it. The most iconic Lake Superior mystery.
Okay, let's kick things off with the SS Bannockburn.
All right.
The steel freighter.
Battling a November storm.
Back in 1902.
1902, that's right.
When it was last seen, heading into a thick, snowy fog.
And then
Poof.
gone-ish. Only a single life preserver ever washed ashore.
A single life preserver, that's it.
That's it.
So, the lake just swallowed it whole.
Classic example of how real tragedy morphs into maritime legend.
Yeah.
No wreckage
ever
found. It just fuels speculation.
And then there are those accounts.
Oh, yeah.
From other sailors.
Sailors claiming to have seen it.
Like in 1947 when a crew swore they saw the Bannockburn emerge from the fog.
Emerge from the fog.
Charging directly at them.
Oh.
And then disappearing just as quickly.
The Flying Dutchman of Lake Superior.
It's not going to go it.
These kinds of sightings are common in maritime lore, often interpreted as warnings, echoes of past tragedies.
Yeah.
Of course, there are always rational explanations. Fog can play tricks on the eyes.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when combined with stress. You're out on the open water, harsh conditions.
Absolutely,
Well,
but
But even if it's just our imaginations, there's something about these stories that just sticks with you, doesn't it?
It really does.
Like, what if there is something out there?
Right.
Watching from the depths.
Watching us.
Keeps those legends alive.
Okay, well, speaking of legends, let's move on to a ship with a very different kind of haunting.
Oh, okay. Which one?
The Cornelia B. Windiet.
The Windiet.
Now, this schooner disappeared in a storm in the late 1800s.
Oh, okay.
But unlike the Bannockburn, her wreckage was actually found.
It was found.
Nearly a century later.
Wow.
In unbelievably pristine condition.
What?
Masts still standing, cargo intact.
Way.
Like a perfectly preserved time capsule.
That's remarkable.
It really is.
Icy waters of Lake Huron acted as a preservative.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't Superior.
Where she was found. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creating this almost eerie snapshot.
It really is.
Of her final moments.
Yeah, and it just makes you think about,
Another aspect of Lake Superior's power.
What's that?
Not just storms.
Right.
But its ability to hold on to the past. Yeah.
Sometimes it seems to defy nature itself.
It really does.
Yeah.
Gives you chills just thinking about it.
It does.
Now, we can't talk about Lake Superior shipwrecks without mentioning the SS Hudson, right?
Oh, the Hudson, yeah.
This freighter sank in 1901 during one of those brutal November gales.
November gales, right?
All hands lost.
Lost.
And shortly after, the ghost sightings start rolling in.
Oh, tell me more.
So sailors are reporting seeing the spectral outline of the Hudson.
Oh, wow.
Eternally drifting through the fog.
Spooky.
Yeah, and haunting. And it just speaks to the very real dangers that these sailors face.
Oh, of course, those November gales.
Yeah.
Brutal reality of Lake Superior. We're talking 30-foot waves.
Oh, my God.
Hurricane force winds.
Enough to make anyone see ghosts.
Enough to make anyone see ghosts.
Right.
No.
So it's not just spooky campfire tales.
No.
They're born from real experiences, real tragedies.
They are, and it's not just these older ships either.
The Janus, massive 1,000-foot freighter, vanished in 1982.
1982.
It proves that even modern vessels aren't immune to Lake Superior's mysteries.
The Janus is so interesting.
Oh,
Built with the latest technology, and yet, poof.
Gone
without a trace.
It adds a whole new dimension.
It really does.
To our fascination with these mysteries, it's not just about ancient superstitions.
No.
It's about the fact that even in the modern era, there are forces out there we can't control.
We just can't fully understand.
We can't fully understand.
And it just makes you wonder what else might be lurking.
Out there in the depths?
I've heard some creepy whispers about the Janus.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Things about divers finding perfectly set dining tables.
What?
Inside the wreck, phantom log entries suggesting that the ship is still sailing.
Still sailing, huh?
Yeah, even encounters with shadowy figures.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Those are some of the more sensationalized stories,
Yes.
Circulating among divers and enthusiasts.
Yeah, you never know.
It's hard to say what's real and what's embellishment.
Sure.
But it certainly adds to the intrigue, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And it perfectly sets us up to talk about another intriguing shipwreck.
Oh, which one is this?
The Bermuda.
The Bermuda.
This one sank back in 1870.
Okay.
And unlike some of the others we've discussed, the Bermuda's remains are in relatively shallow water.
Oh, okay.
Making it a popular spot for divers.
It's not just a shipwreck for history buffs, is it?
No, because divers have reported all sorts of strange occurrences.
Like what?
Cold spots, feelings of being watched, even shadowy figures lurking in the wreckage.
Wow.
And what's so fascinating about the Bermuda is that you can actually go down there and touch the past.
That's true.
Making those ghostly tales all the more unsettling.
It's a powerful reminder.
It really is.
That these stories aren't just abstract legends.
Right.
They're tied to real places, real events.
Yeah.
And for some, those events seem to linger on.
They do.
In a way that transcends the purely physical.
It's like the line between history and hauntings becomes blurred.
It does in Lake Superior.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
It is, and we've only just dipped our toes into the pool of Lake Superior's mysteries.
I have.
There's so much more to uncover. Haunted lighthouses, singing sands.
Oh yeah, we've got to talk about those.
Each with its own unique tale to tell.
I do.
But for now, let's pause and take a breath.
Okay.
We'll be back soon to explore even more of these captivating legends.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Before we dive into more specific tales, I think it's important to understand why Lake Superior is just such a breeding ground for these stories.
I agree.
It's not just the number of shipwrecks. It's something about the lake itself.
It really is. Yeah, there's this
atmosphere.
This almost palpable feeling of mystery.
Yeah.
When you're near it, like the air is thick with untold stories.
And it's not just us.
No.
Modern folks.
Right, like the Ojibwe people who've lived alongside the lake for centuries.
They have their own rich traditions about it.
So for the Ojibwe,
Lake Superior isn't just a body of water.
No.
It's Gichigami.
Gichigami.
A sacred being with its own spirit.
Wow.
And stories.
Okay.
They tell of underwater spirits, mystical creatures, and legends.
Oh, wow.
That emphasize the importance of respecting the lake's power.
So it's not just about spooky ghost ships for them.
Yeah.
It's a whole different way of relating to the lake.
It is.
As this living, breathing entity.
Breathing entity.
With deep spiritual significance.
Precisely. And that reverence for the lake's power.
Right.
It adds another layer to why these stories just resonate so deeply with us.
It's like the veil between the physical and spiritual world is thinner here.
Thinner there.
Making the unexplained feel all the more real.
All the more real, which makes me think about those early European explorers and settlers who arrived on Lake Superior. I mean, they faced incredibly harsh conditions, storms, shipwrecks, freezing winters. It's no wonder.
Yeah.
Their experiences fueled tales of haunted waters.
And vengeful spirits.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine being out on that vast expanse of water.
Right.
Facing unpredictable storms.
Totally.
Knowing how many ships had already been lost.
It's a recipe for fear and superstition.
It is, for imbuing the lake with a sense of just dark power.
Right. And those stories, those fears.
Get passed down.
Through generations.
Yeah.
Even today, we're still drawn to these tales, still captivated by the idea of ghost ships and underwater mysteries.
Precisely. And that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating.
Yeah.
These stories aren't static. They're constantly being shaped and reshaped by each generation that encounters them.
Okay, so we've talked about ghost ships. We've talked about the cultural history that feeds into these legends. But what about those actual shipwrecks resting on the lake bed? I mean, they're like time capsules.
They are.
Right. I mean, what can they tell us about the people who sail these waters?
That's one of the most exciting things about Lake Superior shipwrecks. Because of the cold, freshwater environment, many are incredibly well preserved.
Oh, wow.
You can see tools, cargo, personal belongings.
It's like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
And getting a glimpse into the lives of these sailors.
It is.
It's like, those underwater archaeology shows?
Yeah.
Where they uncover ancient cities?
Yeah.
Sounds like these shipwrecks offer a similar kind of window into the past.
They do.
Didn't you mention some divers?
Oh, yeah.
Claim to have experienced some really strange things down there.
Especially around the genus. Yes, there are definitely stories circulating in the diving community about encountering the unexpected on the genus.
Like what kinds of unexpected?
Well, some describe seeing dining tables set as if for a meal.
Ooh.
Log entries suggesting the ship is still sailing.
Still sailing.
Even encounters with shadowy figures that vanish as quickly as they appear.
Those are seriously creepy.
They are a bit creepy, yeah.
I mean, set tables, phantom log entries.
It's straight out of a horror movie.
It is. But is there any way to verify those claims, or are we purely in the realm of speculation and hearsay?
That's the challenge with these kinds of accounts, isn't it?
It is.
They rely heavily on personal testimony, on subjective experiences.
It's hard to prove.
That are hard to measure or prove, but just because we can't explain something scientifically doesn't mean it didn't happen or that it holds no significance.
Right. It's like that saying,
what's that?
The absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
That's a good one.
It just means we need to stay curious, keep asking questions, and be open to the possibility that there are things we may never fully understand.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes exploring these mysteries so compelling.
It is.
It's about acknowledging the limits of our knowledge and embracing the unknown.
It's like we're constantly navigating between what we can prove and what we can only imagine.
Yeah.
Charting a course through history, science, and folklore.
You've put it perfectly. It's in those liminal spaces where logic and intuition collide.
Yeah.
That we often find the most fertile ground for exploration, for discovery, for the kinds of awe-inspiring stories that Lake Superior just seems to specialize in.
It's like the lake itself is a portal to another world.
It is.
A place where past and present coexist.
They do.
And the boundaries of what we think we know are constantly being challenged.
That's a great segue to another one of Lake Superior's most intriguing features.
Which is?
The Singing Sands.
Singing Sands. I've heard of this.
Of Beit Gris Beach in Michigan.
Yeah.
Imagine strolling along the beach and hearing the sand beneath your feet singing.
It sounds magical.
It is.
Almost like the luck is trying to communicate through music.
Now, there is a scientific explanation for this singing.
What is it?
The sound is caused by the unique composition of the sand grains.
Okay.
However, the Ojibwe have a beautiful legend about it as well.
Oh, tell me.
They say the singing is the voice of a woman mourning her lover.
Lost to the lake, forever calling out to him across the waves.
That's heartbreaking.
It is.
But so romantic.
It captures the emotional power that Lake Superior holds.
It really does.
It's a reminder that our relationship with the natural world is multifaceted.
It's half-faceted.
Yeah. We try to understand it through science.
Yeah.
But we also imbue it with meaning through stories and legends, particularly in a place as vast and mysterious as Lake Superior.
Speaking of legends, we haven't even touched on haunted lighthouses yet.
We haven't.
I know you mentioned Split Rock Lighthouse and Big Bay Point Lighthouse having some spooky stories attached to them.
Oh, absolutely. Lighthouses, like ships, are often solitary sentinels against the darkness.
Yeah.
Witnesses to the dramas and tragedies that unfold on the water. It's almost inevitable.
Yeah.
They'd become focal points for ghost stories.
Absolutely. And these stories often feature classic haunted house tropes.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Footsteps echoing in empty halls, shadowy figures appearing in the mist, unexplained cold spots.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the lighthouses themselves have absorbed the lake's haunting energy.
What's fascinating is how these structures, built to provide safety and guidance, also become imbued with the very dangers they warn against.
They do.
It speaks to the enduring power of Lake Superior's mystique, its ability to blur the lines between the tangible and the spectral.
It's like the lake is a master storyteller.
It is.
Weaving these tales of tragedy and mystery into the very fabric of its existence.
It's not just about fear and darkness, is it?
It's not.
There's also a sense of wonder, of beauty.
Absolutely.
There's something larger than ourselves that draws us to these stories.
You've hit the nail on the head.
We're drawn to these mysteries.
We are.
Because they tap into something primal within us, a fascination with the unknown, a longing to connect with the past, and perhaps even a desire to confront our own mortality.
That's beautifully put. And as much as we'd love to stay lost in these stories, we're nearing the end of our deep dive today.
We are.
But before we resurface, I'm curious to hear your final thoughts on what we've uncovered. I mean, we've journeyed through tales of ghost ships, explored those spiritual depths of the Ojibwe perspective, and even touched on the eerie silence of haunted lighthouses. It just feels like Lake Superior is this vast, breathing storybook, just filled with chapters we're only just beginning to understand.
It's certainly been a captivating exploration, hasn't it? And as we resurface from this deep dive into Lake Superior's mysteries, I think it's important to remember that these stories, as fantastical as some may seem, are deeply rooted in the human experience.
Right. They reflect our need to make sense of the world around us,
They do.
especially when faced with the power and unpredictability of nature. It's like these tales of ghost ships and haunted lighthouses help us grapple with our fears
We do.
and find meaning in the face of the unknown.
Precisely. And they often serve a practical purpose as well.
Right, but like what?
Take those stories of ghost ships as omens.
Yeah.
For example, on a practical level, they could encourage sailors to be extra cautious, to respect the lake's power, which ultimately could save lives.
It's like those old warnings we heard as kids, right?
Yeah.
Don't swim after eating.
Yeah, yeah.
Or don't go out in a thunderstorm.
Right, right.
They might sound superstitious, but often there's a nugget of wisdom embedded in them.
Yeah.
A way of passing down hard-won knowledge from one generation to the next.
Exactly. And those nuggets of truth,
Right.
those lessons learned through experience, are often what give these stories their staying power.
It's true.
They resonate with us because they speak to our shared human experience of overcoming challenges, of seeking meaning in a world that can often feel chaotic and unpredictable.
And Lake Superior, with its vastness and its history of shipwrecks and storms, certainly embodies that sense of challenge.
It does. It does. A stark reminder that despite all our technological advancements, nature still holds immense power over us.
Yeah, I mean, we may build bigger ships
Right.
and equip them with sophisticated navigation systems,
You're,
but Lake Superior remains a force to be reckoned with.
it does. And that's reflected in the stories we tell about it.
Absolutely.
These tales that blend the natural and the supernatural, the historical and the mythical.
It's like these stories remind us that there are still mysteries out there.
There
Are
are.
forces beyond our control, and that a healthy dose of respect for the unknown is never a bad thing.
Indeed. And perhaps that's the most important takeaway from our deep dive today.
I need to.
As we navigate the world, as we seek to understand it through science and reason,
Yeah.
it's equally important to embrace the mysteries, the legends, the stories
Yeah.
that remind us that there's always more to learn, more to discover, more to wonder about.
So true. And Lake Superior, with its depths and its mysteries, serves as a powerful symbol of that.
It does, absolutely. It's a place where the line between reality and imagination blurs, where the past whispers to the present, and where the human spirit finds expression in tales of both triumph and tragedy.
Well said. It's been an incredible journey exploring these stories with you, and as we conclude our deep dive, I hope our listeners are left with a sense of wonder, a thirst for more knowledge, and perhaps a newfound appreciation for the power of stories to connect us to the past, the present, and the enduring mysteries of the world around us.
I couldn't have said it better myself. May you all continue to explore, to question, and to embrace the unknown with a sense of curiosity and wonder. Who knows what other captivating tales lie just beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered.